All right, what's up, YouTube? It's been a full year and I haven't really addressed you guys directly, I feel like, in quite some time. And I figured we would go through the past year of content, review what we've done, what we've accomplished, and kind of get a sense of where we are at in terms of a channel, my thoughts on the past year. Was it a success? Was it a failure? And some ideas of where I want to go with this in the future, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And even though I'm of the mindset that it's better to move in G's like lasagna, as the great Lil Wayne has foretold upon us, I might speak a little bit about future plans that I would like to enact on this channel. And of course, you know, we gotta do it with the stats. So I went through and I exported all of the videos and some of their stats from YouTube into a Google Sheet, and then I produced a category section where I roughly categorized the videos by a certain type. And you know, it's not a one size fits all. It doesn't really exactly make sense in some cases, but it's the best I could do. And I grouped them into categories as ranked / gameplay, Road to Warlord with its own category, discussion videos, news, variety, tournament run, shorts, tournament reaction, tournament recap, premium, which I'll get into in a bit, tutorial, and set / event this year. And I went through it all step by step, gave it a category. I figured we'd go through a little bit and look at the videos published this year and get a sense of where the channel was at and kind of look back at what was done on the channel. So funnily enough, like right when the year started was when Road to Warlord began on January 6th. There was a few other videos before that, a discussion video, Brand New King of Japanese Street Fighter, which was an update on John Takeuchi dominating Topanga League in Japan with his Cody in late Street Fighter V. I also had a DNF duel video right before then, which was actually really fun. There was a goofy DNF duel patch, which made Grappler kind of busted, and I got to play one last time. I started getting into the shorts game a little bit at this time, Stop Shuriken Spammers, which was actually really successful. And this time in the beginning, I was really making an effort to do higher quality YouTube shorts that I filmed and edited myself entirely and put out onto YouTube. And you'll see that these were actually rather successful. This first one, How to Stop Shuriken Spammers, you know, it's very YouTube-y, right? Like if we look at it, these are embarrassing to watch back. I don't really like looking at them, and I hate how my face is so zoomed in. I don't like looking at my own face. Happening to you, you finally get the chance to pressure your opponent, but of course they wake up with an, you know, but they're real. The next time you approach them, YouTube shorty, bait that wake up Shuriken, and of course they instead wake up with a grab. Well, you can in fact stop Minecraft sound effects and all. So I was playing the YouTube meta for sure with these, adding the sound effects. I added more subtitles later on because I think most people watch these actually without volume. But they worked, right? Like that's something that I found, it actually worked really well. This first one got 415,000 views. Now revenue from these is really low, but they actually got a really good reach, and you'll see that when I do a few more of these, that they actually worked really, really well. That shows how I found your channel. There you go. The shorts at first, they weren't really popping off, but what I found is these shorts tend to be promoted again and again. It seems like YouTube is much more willing to re-promote shorts that have some kind of success much later after they were published, whereas a full-length video, very rarely, if ever, will a video later on actually get picked up into the YouTube algorithm, unless it's some sort of like evergreen content and has some kind of recent real-world event that ties into it. That has happened in the past, like with my Iron Man Infinite video, which was my first kind of viral video, but it's very rare. But shorts seem to keep coming back and be consistent viewership over time if it's a successful short to begin with. But right after that, the Road to Warlord series began, and I think this is pretty funny. This became the biggest category in terms of videos besides just raw ranked gameplay, with 50 videos, and it really started as a whim because this was late in the Street Fighter V lifespan, and I was running out of things to do. In 2022 and prior years, I had done so many tutorial style videos and, you know, documenting my competitive journey, tournament runs, things of that nature, keeping up with the Capcom Pro Tour, doing news and all that. But I had a lot of tutorial stuff. That was kind of like my bread and butter for quite some time, is doing tutorial content. At this point, the well started to run dry, and I was running out of things to impart on people without starting to reinvent the wheel, which I didn't really feel like doing, even though I think there is value in that because you gain new audiences, and sometimes it's worth revisiting ideas that you've already touched upon in the past with a new perspective and for a new generation of the audience. But I didn't want to do that yet, and I was like, screw it, why don't I just play with my current account to Warlord and use this as filler to give kind of structure to my random ranked gameplay. Because even though I do have the category of ranked gameplay, something I like to avoid is doing just raw gameplay without having some sort of presence or some sort of concept behind it, some sort of stakes and some sort of tension to keep you strung along for the video rather than just meaningless gameplay. So the road to Warlord was really just like a lazy sort of like, okay, let me just say I'm gonna go for Warlord. I have nothing else to do. Street Fighter 6 is coming out in like 5 or 6 months. Let me just go ahead and do that. And little did I know that this would become probably the biggest thing that I've ever done content-wise ever. It was really just a spur of the moment thing. And it became like the series that kind of defined my channel and is definitely the dominant player in my year of 2023. And that really caught me off guard. But it started to take shape. Like in the first couple of videos, it was just me playing. And, I told AA the plan about how I'm going to be aiming for Warlord. And I really wasn't thinking too much about it until I started to introduce the spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet started to take a lot of different forms and evolve over the course of the videos. I started to get much more sophisticated with my spreadsheet technology and doing things like automatically increasing the dates, tracking the LP gain, adding more complex formulas to figure out when the final goal was going to be achieved. And so every day I would play, and then at the end of the session, you would be able to see how well I did that day and when the projected completion date would be. And it would kind of, start to, come close to the point where you knew the finale would be. And that really got people hooked on the journey. And also at this time, I'm playing Oro, right? I originally played Balrog. For over a decade, I played Rog as a dedicated Balrog main in Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5. And Balrog was very good, but Oro came out in the second half of 2022. And I just fell in love with the character. And I was really motivated at this time to play Oro as much as possible, optimize this character to the highest potential possible, and just squeeze as much life out of this character in this game as I can before it ends, because I was so heavily motivated to play Oro at this time. I loved playing Oro. I loved his freedom of combo routing, the high execution ceiling. It was just there's so much to master with this character, but the more effort you put in, the more you would get out of this character. So because of that, I was so motivated every single session to get on and play and learn more and optimize more and, hunt for crazy combo conversions and new ways to get crazy conversions and pickups. I loved this character so much. So it really all fell together where I found a way where I could just play the game and make good content out of it. So really, things were just aligning for me in this way, because I wasn't in the mood to sit around and do for YouTube produced content at the time, which I had been more motivated to do earlier. So once that started to pick up, you'll see that you're going to see a lot of Road to Warlord videos. Just scroll through the thumbnails. Like AA has done so much good work with the thumbnails over years at this point. I love the serving up supersized L's. It's one of my favorites. This one's great when you love to hate a character. Besties with Zangief. Him holding up Oro by the neck there. I love that one. Just so many moments where he made iconic thumbnails, especially ones that don't involve my face. I love when thumbnails don't have my face in it. I hate seeing my own face, and I, as much as possible, want the branding to not be associated with like me. Maybe that's antithetical to the typical content creator route, but I don't want to necessarily be the focus of the branding of the channel, because I'd rather people watch because I'm sharing something that I'm passionate about and they want to learn about that subject. Yeah, I don't love the lazier reaction thumbnail videos like that, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the job done. But when AA gets to be creative and there's an idea that he runs with, they're always amazing. So some of my favorite thumbnails came out of this series. So scrolling through this, I was like, damn, AA really carried the channel. In the meanwhile, I was doing some discussions about, CPT, some Street Fighter 6 news was happening as well, so there was discussions about Street Fighter 6, a final tier list, doing more shorts in the meantime as well, which started to actually pop off. News you'll see come up a lot because as Street Fighter 6 trailers are coming up, of course I was covering that. This combo is as easy as it looks. I think this is my most successful short. I would love to do more of these because you don't have to see my face But also, I don't know if I can do that in Street Fighter 5. Or sorry, in Street Fighter 6. I don't know if I can do this in Street Fighter 6 because I get to show off how sick Oro is with these kind of shorts. And I think showing the hand gameplay, like, that kind of mesmerizes people. It really kind of serves the function of like the Subway Surfers or the Family Guy clips or like the GTA car racing on the bottom. It serves the same function of like keeping stimulation while this is going on, and then I can add the subtitles and the actual gameplay. It actually like really works for a shorts format, and I would love to do more of this sort of thing because I hate seeing my zoomed in face for YouTube shorts. This was cool to do, and I did the same thing as well, doing an arcade stick, because so many people were like, "Oh, Hitbox is broken. You can only do this on Hitbox." Blah, blah, blah. So I was shouting out the haters with that one. I just did it again on stick, and I talked about the differences between hitbox and stick. That was a really cool short, and I really enjoyed doing that one. And this one, to this day, still gets many views. Like, this is often one of the highest viewed videos on my channel any given month, because it just still keeps steadily gaining views over time. But in between that, it's all Road to Warlord, man. So I was pretty motivated at this time. So I was doing Road to Warlord almost exclusively, and then in between I was doing more highly produced short content, which I think was very good for the channel and something that I probably should do again. But in between that, some tournament reaction stuff, more discussion, but it's mostly all Road to Warlord with some Street Fighter 6 news in between. And it really started to culminate towards the end. In between, I also did some variety content, which is I wanted to play some Resident Evil. So I wanted to break up what I was doing a little bit with some breaks here and there. So I played Resident Evil under variety content. And you can see how much that banged, you know. Here we go. We got 3,000 views and -3 subscribers. So that's pretty good. I wasn't sure if I should put this on the Clips channel, put it on the main channel, but the editing workload was really high for AA at this time too, to constantly pump out amazing thumbnails and well-edited videos for the series. So this helped provide some padding to keep momentum on the channel, which I don't know how true that is, considering that I lost a lot of subscribers doing this. But it helped provide some padding in between the upload schedule to let AA have a break and keep things moving. It's something that I wanted to do, and I did it. I don't think I would do this again on the channel, which I will discuss later, but I'm happy I got to play a different game for once. And then, you know, more shorts and news about Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 6 demos were coming out in between here as well as the betas. So there was some beta gameplay and news about Street Fighter 6. So at this time, you know, Capcom is slowly trickling out new Street Fighter 6 stuff. And then, of course, there was the end of the road to Warlord. And yeah, this series was so successful, and that's due in part to the structure of the content, but also AA was going dummy ham with all these thumbnails. These thumbnails are so freaking good. I really liked Street Fighter V's engine for doing thumbnails. I don't think Street Fighter 6 is as visually clear for doing these kind of thumbnail edits as Street Fighter 5 was. It just works so well, and AA was getting so creative with just, it was an open template for having just super meme thumbnails and titles where people knew what series they were getting into and can keep coming back and, you know, catch up on where I'm currently at in the process. So I think it was a really fun time for me, AA, and the audience. Then, of course, the end of the road here, we actually did a much more heavily edited for YouTube intro. I wrote an intro script where I would discuss about the ranked process with Street Fighter V to give context, so that people who didn't watch the rest of the series could watch the finale. And, you know, I told AA, hey, let's make this something special. Let's actually make this like a more produced video for YouTube, and you know, give a sense of the scale for what's going on compared to other games. So I was really proud of the way this video came out, and I would have put this into the premium category, but I decided to leave it in the Road to Warlord. But this type of effort where it's a more well-produced video specifically for YouTube with more editing, off-stream footage, some narration, some extra writing, scripting, that's kind of like the premium category that I had created. And I love the visual effects here to kind of show the scale of the rank system. I felt like this was really important to get across to the average viewer who might not have seen the rest of the series. So worked with Double A, talked about this a lot, and he did a really great job of demonstrating this. So I'm really happy with how this video turned out and how the series turned out. And I'm mostly focusing on YouTube here, but by far, this was my most successful stream. And it taught me the power of having an event and some kind of series to culminate with. That stream, I had 7,000 viewers, over 7,000 viewers. And this wasn't from raids. This wasn't from a bigger event and a bigger streamer raiding me after. This organically got this many viewers. I got over 1,000 new subscribers on Twitch, and it was just absurd. Like the notifications literally never ended in terms of subs and donations. I had to turn the alerts off, and I honestly couldn't believe what was happening. It was unreal. It was beyond the pale to compare to anything that I've done previously in terms of anything. Right, so it was really absurd and really put a cap on the whole series, and it was a good one. But of course, that left me in kind of a weird situation, because where do you go from there? Fortunately, the stakes at the end of the road and the road to Warlord weren't just to get to the final rank. It was also to complete it prior to Street Fighter 6. So it was time to start a new chapter. There was a lot of news and a little bit of filler before getting to the actual release date of Street Fighter 6, but it happened. So once the game released, we had a lot of ranked gameplay footage. Now, even though this was raw ranked gameplay footage, a lot of this was trying new characters or aiming to get a specific goal in ranked. But at this time, I'm also just trying to play the game. I'm trying to learn the game. The game just dropped. I'm trying to do the best I can to figure out how to play very quickly and learn the systems and kind of keep up, because I am not a player that very quickly adapts to new games. Like whenever a new game comes out, it takes me a long time to get up to speed and be relatively in the same competitive spot in the pecking order as I was with the previous release. So even with the release of Street Fighter V, I was maybe here in Street Fighter 4, then I dropped heavy, then had to get even higher in Street Fighter 5, then I dropped heavy in Street Fighter 6, and I still don't feel like I'm back to where I was in Street Fighter 5. And because of that, I really wanted to focus, and I still do to this day, 6 months later, 7 months almost. I just want to play. I want to play more and more and just improve my craft, because I don't feel confident in my gameplay, and I still want to be a competitive player. So you're going to see a lot of ranked gameplay videos like that. Then of course, this was a big one. Twitch Rivals happened, this tournament run where basically it was me watching the team I put together. So basically watching Snake Eyes and Idon beat the crap out of everybody. So that was really cool to watch. So you're going to see a lot of tournament runs, a lot of ranked gameplay. And, you know, it's hitting pretty good in the beginning because it's new, it's novel. People are hungry for just seeing the game itself. And you're going to start to see a lot more tournament reactions and recaps as well. And at this point, I started leaning a bit more into covering the CPT, especially after EVO. So once EVO ended, I started doing a lot of videos where I would just cover the latest developments with the world of competitive Street Fighter, because I felt like there was a big gap in the CPT storyline this year. I mean, there was kind of a gap last year as well because it was all online, but it was even more noticeable in this season because Street Fighter 6 was so big, it had such a big release, but there was little to no proper coverage or hype to cover all the developments that were happening all over the world because they were isolated to their individual regions due to everything being online. So I really enjoy the competitive scene. I'm very passionate about, raising up the competitive scene and sharing the beauty of competitive fighting games and how amazing all these players are all over the world. So that's something that I'm really into and something I'm very passionate about. And so I like to do a lot of discussions on that. So I leaned a bit more into that this year because, like I mentioned before, I could have done more tutorial content, but a lot of the basic fundamental things for Street Fighter 6, I had covered all in Street Fighter 5. So this might have been a missed opportunity where I could have provided more value, where I could have done more tutorials. So I did the most hated move and how to beat it, which is about JP's amnesia, because that was new, right? I have done so many tutorials in Street Fighter 5. Most of those apply to Street Fighter 6, but amnesia, that's a brand new beast in Street Fighter 6. So I did a tutorial on that one as well. So, I felt like at that time I'd leave the tutorial stuff for people who haven't covered that ground. and to provide that value to the community. But I always want to provide value, and I feel like if I'm just doing gameplay, there's some value in me being a decent player at the game that people can watch and learn from, but I'm not providing the most value I could. I think if I'm doing more discussions about the competitive scene to share the storylines about players, if I'm doing more tutorial stuff, if I'm doing more events, I think that provides more value overall than just gameplay. But I also wanted to just get good. So I had these kind of conflicting desires at the time where I wasn't very motivated to spend my time producing that kind of valuable content because I just felt like not confident in my gameplay, and I just wanted to keep playing in order to improve myself at the game. And that probably cost me in terms of content momentum because things definitely started to slow down for a while, especially post Evo. So I did have some good videos in the meantime though, and that's where I made an effort to have videos where I was more proud of in between, because I wasn't really doing any tutorial stuff. If I did do something of that nature, I wanted to make it good. I wanted to make it really well and have it have impact and be more evergreen. So like the 6 mechanics Street Fighter doesn't teach you was one of those videos, and I put it under the premium category where, there's a lot more effort put into that video. It was all filmed off stream. I set up the different techniques that I wanted to show off because I actually felt like I had something of value and new and exclusive to Street Fighter 6 to demonstrate. And, I gave it to AA, and he was able to spend more time working on editing it to make it more clean and have it, be a really well-produced video that can be watched at any point in Street Fighter 6's lifespan. So I'm very proud of that video, and I'm glad it did well. And I was like, okay, maybe this is what I'll do. I'll do like more on-stream gameplay stuff, but still have more premium style videos where we'll take a break to work on, or slow down to work on more one video exclusively rather than multiple, and do more content of that nature. But I don't really stick to that because at this point also I was traveling for personal reasons. I was out of the country, and between once September ended and October happened, I had very few videos output in October and November because I was very busy with travel and just personal life, and I've been stretching a lot of different directions. I'm trying to balance being a competitive player with a content creator and my real job, my personal life, increasing personal responsibilities and shifting priorities in my own life. So there's definitely a lot of factors that were pulling me in different directions. And so, I was doing a lot of discussion videos here to kind of get some quick things out there because I still cared about the CPT, doing more tournament recaps, which I think were pretty successful, where I just kind of give an update on the storylines of the current tournaments and talk to the camera directly. And I produce those on my own real quick and just kind of give an update of what's going on in the CPT, because I feel like that's a big gap we have right now. And then when I came back from traveling internationally, I really wanted to come back with a banger, and that's why I did how the Street Fighter champion was nearly denied. And this was the story of how Mena RD, arguably the most successful offline player for the CPT season, did not manage to qualify through the offline CPT events, but very nearly, or by the skin of his teeth rather, qualified through the World Warrior regional finals. And this video didn't perform that well, to be quite honest, but I'm very proud of this video. I think maybe the title thumbnail could have been workshopped a bit more. I did a lot of research planning for this video. I prepared a lot of visuals, and even though I did narrate this live on stream, there was a lot of effort that went into gathering all the visuals, the data. I even made more spreadsheets that I made custom to track, potential point placements. I did a lot of effort to set up the storyline and present that in a way that was engaging to the viewers. And then AA spent a lot more time producing the visuals for the intro and making sure the edits were very clean and something that would be a bit more evergreen and be shareable outside of the FGC directly. It didn't quite have the reach I thought it would, to be quite honest, but I think this provided value. I think this was a piece of content that anyone can watch, even if they're turned off by stream edits to YouTube, like that kind of content pipeline. I was really happy with how this turned out. And so that's something that I think inspired me to focus more on those videos going forward. And then towards the end here, did a few easy shorts, just kind of try to mess with the shorts algorithm and kind of back to the usual grind as the holidays are nearing. But that brings us to, the end of 2023. And you can see here, I got the detailed breakdown for what we actually did. Ranked gameplay and Road to Warlord made up the bulk of the videos. But you can see here that they also did make up the bulk of the views. Road to Warlord itself was just so freaking successful. 2,787,000 viewers, the most viewed category on my channel for 2023 by far. The discussion videos, they did very well though, with less like half the number of videos had 2 million views in their own right. The shorts did well. It's something I should definitely investigate or invest more time into, is doing more high quality shorts. That's a lesson learned there. But premium is the category I want to increase. So I want to focus more in the future on doing more premium content, things that are more evergreen. And like I mentioned, I have conflicting priorities in my own life, but also YouTube encourages you to frequently upload. So the problem is, when you upload less frequently, even if you get more views per video, you are generally taking a financial hit in that regard. And potentially, in terms of your reach in the YouTube algorithm, you can potentially get less recommendations and be penalized to a degree for being less frequent with your upload schedule. So there's a lot of things that make it so that you're pressured to do YouTube in the YouTubey way. So I was thinking maybe in the future, Brian F. Clips, which has a mix of, sort of leftover scraps of footage, which may be anywhere from 30-second clips, which are frequently uploaded, to 2-hour, 3-hour VODs and everything in between. That might become the channel where I focus more on the everyday gameplay. Like even the well-produced videos, anything under this ranked gameplay might move over to Brian F. Clips, and that might become Brian F2, something of that nature. Whereas the Brian F. main channel would be home to less frequent uploads, things that are more highly produced, things that focus more on events, more of a even more premium sort of channel, which I already kind of have that distinction to a degree, but there's definitely some stuff that just gets shipped out the door on the main channel. So I want to be passionate about what I'm doing, and I think when I'm passionate is when I try to uplift the competitive players and the competitive scene and share tutorial stuff and things of that nature. That's what gets me kind of passionate, or doing events or like series that gets people involved, like the Road to Warlord. Ranked gameplay is part of the grind, but it's not really something that gets me passionate to say, hey, I'm proud of this and it's on my YouTube channel. It doesn't really give me that same sort of feedback. When I do a good, well-edited video that people watch and they get good information out of it or get an engaging story, that's when I feel the most fulfilled. So that's something I want to try to focus more on in 2024. But it would require restructuring how things are done on the YouTube channels, which would be very difficult to achieve. So like I said, usually I don't like to talk about plans ahead of time. I'm kind of breaking that rule here. I feel like it's best to just do what you want to do and don't talk about it, be about it. I think that kind of ends up jinxing yourself and makes things less likely to happen in real life. I'm doing that now. We'll see if that pans out for 2024. So overall, is this a success? Like the way this is split up? Objectively, 2023 had more viewership than any year prior on the YouTube channel. However, things were definitely slowing down in the second half of the year, which is kind of common. Like that happens around the holidays every year for my channel. But beyond the Road to Warlord and a few of the premium videos, I definitely did not personally feel as fulfilled. So I think overall, statistically, yes, 2023 was a success for the Brian F. YouTube channel, but I feel like I was achieving new feats and covering new ground more in previous years, which is to be expected because it's the past and there's more to do. And this year, I definitely creatively stagnated to a degree. And I felt that lack of passion, especially in the second half of the year. And it was definitely very difficult to recapture what I had in late era Street Fighter V. So that's something that I want to look into and figure out what can get the gears turning. So I do plan on doing more content in 2024. We will keep the ball moving in that direction, but I'm hoping to do more things that provide value to the community and get people excited and uplift the competitive scene and get people into fighting games. Because at the end of the day, what I enjoy is uplifting the scene, sharing the beauty of fighting games, and making people want to both get involved with the competitive scene to understand the storylines and to try games out themselves and to have fun with them. So if I can achieve that goal, then I'll be happy. So I want to try to focus more on that in the future. And it's not easy. Like there's a lot of personal things in my own life that I'm very busy with, and I'm getting older. I have a lot of different events and a different set of responsibilities I have to deal with now than I did before. And, you know, being an online personality is not my favorite. You deal with a lot of backlash. I feel like previously I was kind of on the come up and I could do no wrong. And now I'm sort of the old guard. I used to be, you know, the new kid on the block. The streets were watching Brian F. And that's no longer the case. I'm kind of the establishment. Like coming into Street Fighter 6, I was of the established content creator class. And so with that comes a different perspective. And it's a lot of responsibility. I'm a very flawed individual. You know, I get salty. I don't handle things properly sometimes. I definitely make plenty of mistakes. And I don't necessarily love being public with all that. I don't love having a lot of feedback on, you know, how I am as a person. I think when you venture too far into like influencer talking head realm, that becomes a much bigger focus. And I'd rather just be more content and value focused than personality or influencer focused, because then I can just provide value to people. That's what makes me the most happy, and also avoids the trouble of, you know, interpersonal issues and politics and things of that nature, which I don't find joy in getting into that in the online world. That's not what makes me happy, and I'm getting older and I care less about arguing on the internet, even though I get too easily triggered into doing it. So I want to try to take as much of a step back from that as possible. That's it. That's 2023. That's my plans for 2024. Long rambling video. If you were watching in 2023 or watching my channel ever, just know I really appreciate all the support. The fact that people ever tune in to watch my streams or watch any of my videos, it's still kind of a miracle to me, and I never want to lose sight of that. So I appreciate everything and hope you guys had a great 2023, and here's to 2024. Peace.